Hi there. Thank you for joining me. Priscilla Dames here with 100 Days of Coping with COVID. I have piggybacked on President-elect Joe Biden's first initiative. The first thing he said he's asking all Americans to do is to wear the mask for 100 days. And then he repeats himself, and that's why I'm taking a couple of days just to let you know what's going on and why I'm doing this. My company, Wingspan Seminars, is based in conflict resolution and conflict management. So the pandemic has caused so many conflicts in our own lives internally that this is the time to do something about it. Number one, we're in this together, and don't forget that. But what are some of the things that we need to be aware of and we can do about this conflict that's in our lives called a pandemic? There's so many things that it has caused, the stress, the depression, the anxiety, internally and in our own households. Whether it's internally or with your significant other, another adult living in the house, or with your children. And there's so many things having to do with our families and children. What are some of the things we need to be aware of? So upcoming, I am having a full-on roundtable discussion with some community leaders. And when I say community, I mean nationally, some of the leaders nationally that can help us with COVID. Also, I've had live with Elizabeth Garcia, who's Miss Self-Care Queen. But there's some things that I want you to know about conflict and yourself. So when we're dealing with conflict, there's internal and external. But let's talk about the conflict styles. Conflict styles really depend on your own personality and your own comfort level. But several points that we need to remember is that, number one, our own personality dictates the type of conflict style that we're comfortable with and we use most often. Number two, there's no style any better than the other. They're all valuable in their own way. And one example I can give is someone who likes to control all the time. We said that's terrible to be that way. However, if you're a parent, whether it's a 5-year-old, 15-year-old, or a teacher, you need to establish some type of control. Even if you listen to your children, to your students, and we need to listen, there needs to be control. And number three, we use all of the different styles in one way or another at different times. Depending on the situation, we vacillate between different styles, and that's all of us. Okay, let's talk about the conflict styles. There are basically 5 of them. Now, sometimes you'll see 3, and sometimes I've seen as many as 7. They're all correct because they're sometimes condensed or sometimes subdivided. But we're going to talk about 5 basic styles. These are the different ways that you approach or you handle conflict. So this is whether you're at home or you're back at work. You need to be aware of which one fits you the best. Number 1 is accommodating. Now, the goal always is to have a win-win because you don't want a loser or the person to feel like they've lost all the time. So win-wins are always the best. But the accommodator is one that is not concerned about their own goals, and they're always wanting to accommodate. So they're always in the losing situation. Accommodator. Another one is the collaborator. With a collaboration, you will have a win-win. I want to hear your ideas. You should hear my ideas, and we'll come together so both of us will have a win-win. And then there's the compromiser. The compromiser is going to compromise a little too much. There's very, very seldom a win-win if you continue to compromise and give in to the other person. What about the controller? We talked about that. The controller is my way or the highway. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to sometimes raise my voice, but I have to have control of the situation, and the end result must be a win for me and a lose for you. And what about the avoider? The avoider doesn't want to discuss it, will avoid conflict at all costs. That's not good, because that person is not giving their opinion and they're avoiding the conflict rather than discussing it, discussing their feelings, the other person's feelings. So avoiding is not always the best way. So those are the five. Accommodate, control, compromise, avoid, and collaborate. Think about it. Which one are you? Bye-bye.